Cookiezi and WhiteCat are two of the most recognizable OS players, and their respective periods of dominance, WhiteCat's is still ongoing, have sparked fierce discussion about who's the better player. Today, let's compare these two legendary players in two different ways, objectively and subjectively. An objective comparison includes a quick synopsis and all of the stats on their profile, while a subjective comparison weaves in my opinions about the two players and their overall performances. WhiteCat is a German player who created his account in June 2014 and improved rapidly. 2 years later, he was restricted on Bancho for multi-accounting and account boosting. There was, and still is, no definitive evidence of him cheating. He has posted multiple live plays on his YouTube channel, which is linked in the description. Because of his restriction, he began playing on a multitude of private servers such as Ripple and Qatari, achieving number 1 on both of them. He would continue to develop his aim and speed on those servers, along with playing offline, until his unrestriction in September 2019. He reached number 1 within 2 weeks of his unrestriction, gaining 12,000 PP on the first day alone. At the time of writing this script, WhiteCat has 20,125 PP, which is over 2,000 PP ahead of the next player, Vaxe. Vaxe is 270 PP more than the number 3 player, Elite Brandon 365, or MREC, meaning that WhiteCat has a practically 3,000 PP lead over the entirety of the community. Additionally, he has an overall accuracy of 98.19%, a play count of approximately 14,000, over 500,000 replays watched, and over 100 number 1 scores. It bears reiterating since he's an active player, but the values I mentioned have probably changed, so the most recent values at the time of editing will be placed on screen instead. Cookiezi, or more comfortably named as Shigetora, is a South Korean player who started playing on his brother's account in June 2009. The story about him sharing accounts is that his brother initially created the account, but then quickly lost interest. Shigetora, intrigued by the game, tried it out, and the rest is history. He became number 1 within a year of playing, and maintained that position whenever he wasn't taking a break. In late 2013, he infamously banned himself from the game by submitting a cheated play on Masterpiece with 3mod, citing worsening eye problems, hand pains, and disagreements with OS staff. However, he would return to the game in the middle of 2015 and be unbanned a few months later. After his unban, he would re-enter the top 5 within 2 months and reach number 1 in the middle of 2016. Along the way, he set many memorable scores that are only now being challenged today. He would hold number 1 for the entirety of 2017, lose it in January 2018 to Rafis, and then ultimately regain number 1 after the hidden rebalance. Ever since 2018, shigetora has been taking a lot of breaks / playing the game more for enjoyment. He returned during the final months of 2019 to set some amazing scores, and then went on break in February of this year. It has been rumored that he has moved back to South Korea from Japan to fulfill South Korea's mandatory military service requirement, and if that's true, it will most likely be a couple years if he chooses to play actively again. Cookiezi has 14,938 PP and is ranked number 38, with 6.6 million replays watched and 273 first place ranks. He has an overall accuracy of 98.93% with nearly 30,000 play count. Now with both players on screen, I can say that their total play counts, number 1 scores, and replays watched are not entirely accurate. Both players were banned with complete account wipes, meaning that they had to start from scratch when they were initially unbanned. Adding the statistics from their pre-ban profiles doesn't really change much, but let's start from the top. According to the Wayback Machine, WhiteCat would have approximately 50,000 more play count and 6,500 more replays watched. He would not have any persisting number 1 scores. There honestly isn't a lot of documentation about WhiteCat before 2017 because he was not a relevant player at the time, other than when he was accused of cheating. Even though this screenshot lists that he had 42,000 play count, I checked a website called OSTrack and it lists that he had 49,000 play count the moment before he was banned. He also reached rank 90 in the world with 8,985 PP. Cookiezi, on the other hand, would have 100,000 more play count, over 3 million more replays watched, and most likely over 100 more first place ranks. I managed to count 150 more first place ranks in an old screenshot of Cookiezi's profile from 2013 before being cut off and unable to see any more. He most likely had a lot more first place ranks than this, but since I can't access those scores, it's unknown how many he would still possess today. Additionally, I can practically guarantee that some of the scores listed on his old profile would have been sniped by now. Considering that he has 273 first place scores, I'm willing to estimate that he would have over 400 if he wasn't banned. With these updated statistics, we can finally compare these two players objectively. And WhiteCat wins! With an over 5,000 PP lead over Cookiezi, there really is no comparing these two players in their overall performance. However, Cookiezi has more than just his performance supporting him in this comparison, and I'm going to elaborate that with my opinion. Now that I'm free of the shackles that is unbiased reporting, I believe with 100% certainty that Cookiezi is the better player out of these two and ultimately the greatest of all time. These statistics don't do it justice. Along with having approximately 10 million replays watched, which is the most from any user, ahead by over 2 million, he is the most followed OS streamer, Twitter user, outside of the official OS accounts and Pepe himself, carried channels like Reese Was Here and Circle People to their prime and earned them tens of thousands of subscribers, and is the most influential player the game has ever seen. There were other YouTube channels dedicated to uploading his replays before he decided to upload them on his own. Along with his personal channel, if you were to add the amount of subscribers he earned the previous two channels, he would definitely surpass WhiteCat's subscriber count. Although Reese Was Here is no longer active and Circle People uploads less frequently, sorting both of their channels' videos by most popular will show you the influence, and by extension dominance, Cookiezi possessed during 2016 and 2017. On Reese's channel, Cookiezi is the subject of his 17 most viewed videos, 2 of them being popular Twitch streamers watching Cookiezi's gameplay. 5 of those videos each have over 1 million views, which is actually more than my channel's entire view count. On Circle People, Cookiezi accounts for 9 out of the 10 of their most popular videos, with Wub Wolf Wolf being the only exception. This time, only one of those videos includes the reaction of a popular Twitch streamer. All 9 of those videos have over 1 million views each, with 2 of them having over 2 million. Freedom Dive, which is both Circle People and Cookiezi's most viewed video/replay, was considered the greatest play of all time when it was submitted, and arguably still is. Other Juggernaut scores Cookiezi has set include Everything Will Freeze with Hidden Hard Rock, Made of Fire with Hidden Double Time, Yomiuri with Hidden, Logical Stimulus with Hidden, Burn This Moment into the Retina of My Eye with Hidden Hard Rock, Bison Charge with Hidden, Onigiri Freeway with Hidden Hard Rock, Daisuke with Hidden Double Time, etc. Most of these maps were genuinely considered to be impossible with those mod combinations, or damn near close to it, and Cookiezi shocked everyone with his almost casual performance on them. To give some credit to WhiteCat, he has sniped 2 of the aforementioned scores, Yomiuri and Logical Stimulus. Although, even though the leaderboard displays WhiteCat as number 1 on Yomiuri, that's solely because of his nearly 900 higher max combo. Cookiezi's play has significantly better accuracy and 6 less misses, making it the better score in my opinion. I still find it difficult to comprehend that Cookiezi set that score over 3 years ago. At the spike of the map with the cross-screen jumps and space triples, he reached 990 PP before missing, making Yomiuri a 1000 PP choke 2 years before any player would be able to achieve something similar. On Logical Stimulus, WhiteCat beat Cookiezi's score fair and square, which was honestly quite unexpected because most people, including me, viewed him as an aim player and not a space stream player. The only difference between the two plays is Hidden, but it can be argued that Hidden is solely a preference at higher approach rates, so WhiteCat's score is objectively better. Cookiezi is not a stranger to the topic of high PP chokes. Scrolling through his top plays, some of his chokes include a 1 miss on Everything with Freeze Hidden Hard Rock, a slider break on Hoshi no Kakaru Adventure with Hidden Hard Rock, a 1 miss on Yimichizu with Hidden Double Time, a slider break on Seasons with Hidden Hard Rock, a 1 miss on Kimi no Shiranai Monogatari with Hidden Double Time, Yomiuri as stated before, a 1 miss on Guilty All the Same with Hidden Hard Rock, a 3 miss on Senpa no Mai with Hidden Double Time, etc. Everything Will Freeze with his accuracy would have been worth 1000 PP, and all the other scores would have been worth at least 700 PP for FC. The reason why I'm mentioning all of these plays is because plays with a value of 800 PP don't really matter to a player like WhiteCat, whose top 5 contains plays above 1100 PP. It can be easy to dismiss Cookiezi because he doesn't have such high PP plays, but I'm listing them out to show that he was capable of them as well, usually years before anyone else. The thing about all of these accomplishments is that they are so memorable, unique, and only now starting to be contested with. Although WhiteCat is definitely the king of the current meta and the best 3-mod precision and aim player, that's basically all you see from him. I'm not saying he is a DT farmer or an aim-1 trick, because his Road of Resistance Hard Rock, Euphoria, and Logical Stimulus FCs prove that he is skillful in other areas. The problem is, other than really Euphoria, those plays aren't groundbreaking anymore and don't have that unbelievable shock factor. Idke was pretty close to a Hard Rock FC on Road of Resistance 18 months earlier, and Cookiezi was relatively close 2.5 years before Idke attempted it. Cookiezi, in order to bully BTMC, showed the greater community that Logical Stimulus was definitely possible for him and nearly FC'ing within his first few attempts. WhiteCat definitely raised the bar by FC'ing the map, but the shock factor simply wasn't there. If Cookiezi's play on that map didn't exist, then my perspective about WhiteCat's play would be dramatically different. Although the meta has evolved dramatically since 2017, Cookiezi was able to play and compete at the highest level then as well. The meta in 2017 did not include 3-mod, but still incorporated aim agility with shorter maps. Cookiezi was not the best at the meta, but he certainly was proficient enough to be a contender for a high leaderboard position, sometimes even achieving the #1 score on a map. He does not have as many quote-unquote meta scores as WhiteCat currently does, but the fact that he was proficient with those kinds of maps along with his absurd capabilities with others placed him far ahead. The next aspect of Cookiezi's plays I want to cover are his first places. First place scores are coveted because they are displayed on your profile no matter how much performance they are worth. WhiteCat has 114 of them, while Cookiezi has 273 at the time of writing. He used to have over 300, but because of his inactivity, other players have begun to snipe his scores. Both players have a nearly incomprehensible amount of #1 scores, but scrolling down on Cookiezi's list reveals some truly bizarre plays that are still unmatched today. Chaos Japan is one such example, with ridiculous patterns that require both precise aim and reading. Cookiezi had the only double time FC on the map for 4 years, only recently being matched without Hidden by Dust Ice a few months ago. On the global leaderboard, he is still ahead by over 300,000 points because there are no other Hidden double time FCs. Honorable mention to Rustbell's insane 1-miss Hidden double time play from November of 2015. Similar plays include his Hidden double time FC on Meme, which has no other DT plays above 400 combo except for Cookiezi, his Hidden double time FC on Death Moon 2, which only recently has been FC'd with DT by Shield, Vaxei, and Idke, and his Hidden Hard Rock FC on... oh Jesus. All of the plays I just mentioned were set in 2017 at the latest. Scores like that are what convince me he is the greatest player of all time, because they have, and most likely will, continue to stand the test of time. I would list more of his scores to further substantiate this, but we would be here for a while. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for WhiteCat. Although he is the only 3-mod FC for most of his top plays, he is definitely not unchallenged. The leaderboards may represent WhiteCat at the top, but because of unbalanced map design, other players like Emrek and Freddie Benson may have only missed once or twice and aren't very far behind WhiteCat. WhiteCat's accuracy usually separates him from other players attempting to play those maps with 3-mod, but both of the aforementioned players have been able to tie or beat his accuracy multiple times. To be honest, I don't believe WhiteCat's 3-mod scores will remain uncontested for as long as some of Cookiezi's scores have. I think we'll see other players reaching that level within the next 2 years. That's not to discredit WhiteCat, it's just that I've witnessed other players who have optimized their aim so much to compete at the top level that WhiteCat isn't as distinguishable. Outside of his plays, I believe Cookiezi is the most influential user. For example, out of the subreddit's top 10 upvoted posts, which includes 5 memes in the r/place defense, his scores appear 3 times. Vaxei is the only other score post in the top 10. The 3 plays in question, Freedom Dive, Blue Zenith, and Remote Control, all have different mod combinations and were the PP record at the time of submission. Owning the PP record, which WhiteCat actually does not currently, is impressive in its own right, but Cookiezi was able to set it on 3 wildly different maps. Additionally, you legitimately can't change your username to Cookiezi or shigetora. Staff have banned those 2 names from ever being claimed, although the shigetora ban was questionable because a Finnish player was able to claim it instead, but whatever. Cookiezi was literally so popular of a player, and so many players wanted his username, that it was banned from ever being registered again. The only other player to have earned that honor was Raruchi. All of this has been written while Cookiezi has been on an over 5-month hiatus. That brings up the question in most people's minds, Will he return to the game, or has he genuinely quit this time? Looking at his Twitter account can quickly give you the answer, but I honestly don't believe he has quit the game and will never return. History has proven to us that he comes back each and every time he is left, even when he outright banned himself. Furthermore, I don't believe such a revered player would just voluntarily drop the game like a hot potato. A decade of stellar performances and record-breaking achievements must have had an impact on Cookiezi himself, and practically abandoning that seems very difficult to do for anyone. So, I honestly believe he will return to the game and play again. Whether he will be as dominant, though, is only something we can wait to witness. It's for those reasons that I believe Cookiezi is the greatest player of all time. He has achieved practically everything a player could and done everything the game has offered him. However, just because I wrote 1,000 words elaborating Cookiezi's greatness does not mean I believe WhiteCat is bad or anything. His proficiency with 3 mod has certainly earned him his position as the #1 player, and his nearly 3,000 PP lead over the next active player simply cannot be ignored. WhiteCat may be the greatest active player currently in the community, but Cookiezi's decade of dominance, unmatched scores, and influence is simply too strong to discount, which establishes him as the greatest player overall, in my opinion. That's what this comparison was ultimately about, anyway. It wasn't about who deserved to have a higher amount of PP or who achieved more ridiculous scores. It was about who was the greatest player of all time. Thanks for watching.